Hey, it's me, ABT Pro. Listen, I have been trying to get my hair cut for a long time and it just hadn't happened. So, I want to talk about something that I didn't want to talk about. I really don't want to talk about it, but I need to talk about it. So, just before Christmas, the president passed the, let me make sure my sound is up. Don't ask, don't tell. Now, I'm not really familiar with the subject of don't ask, don't tell, because I'm not gay and I'm not in the military, I guess, you know. So, I still have my opinions on it because if everybody knows, I don't believe you should promote any type of sexuality. I don't believe you should promote sexuality, homosexuality. Okay, I don't think that for the military, I don't think it should be, either or. You should not be walking around, in the military. You're supposed to be fighting or protecting or stuff. I don't think that the military is about sexuality. Unless I'm missing something, I don't really know exactly what it is, that they want to go around men hugging men and stuff like that. In general, I think that's a bad situation because, when you talk about, promote homosexuality, then you're going to offend somebody, and so it's already going to be guys with guns, and somebody going to, if they're open sexuality and you can't say nothing, they might hit on a straight guy who might not like it, because he's straight, and then it might be gunplay, like, what, you put your hands on me, there's gonna be a lot of friendly fire then, unfriendly, so I think that it's really, just doesn't make sense to promote a homosexuality. So these guys want to be these guys. I saw a movie that kind of threw me. I forgot what it was. Alexander the Great. I saw it. It was on television. It came on. It's not the kind of movie I would go see because I don't see drama. So the whole big thing about this is like, and these men, and they often talk about what I know about Army situations, and I'll make this very short, is that, so they're either out to sea, they're out to stuff, and so they start having homosexual activity because there's no women around, and like in jail, homosexuality is rampant, and then you also, when you're like that, and in that situation where you're incarcerated, men often, to get their needs met any kind of way that they can, they will go to turn to homosexuality. So, I'm not judging that. What people do is what they do. If they choose to do that, that has no effect on me. My whole problem with this whole situation is legislating sexuality, and especially homosexuality, which actually is just, it's not natural. It's not a part of how things work in life. Everything in life has a purpose, and everything has a thing. It's just sex for the form of sex. Now, some people want to call it love, but I don't define love as just sex, and sex is not love. It's a two-way street, and they both hold true. Love, there's all types of form of love, and people that you truly, truly love are the ones you generally don't have sex with. Family members, you don't have sex with them. People who, who you really love, who are in your life, which you would die for. A lot of women that you can have sex with somebody, or a man or female, and there ain't no love in it. So to equate sex with love is just bullcrap to me, complete and utter. It's just foolishness. How people buy into that, I don't get it. Heterosexuals know better than that. So if you're intimately involved, that intimacy has nothing to personally do. You would still love them. If you love them, it has nothing to do with sex. sex is just, additive. If you love somebody, if you have sex with somebody and you think they love them, then, you really don't know what love is. But, all right, so whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't, everything, male, female get together, they have life, they create life. Now, homosexuality says that's not important because you have a small percentage of people who have a defect, and that proves the point. That if you have a defect that you cannot get together and have sex, then it's unnatural. We call it a defect. It's an infidelity. Homosexuals never have infidelity because they are incapable of having sex with their partner. They can never mix genes. They can never do that. There's no reason to legitimize it, litigate it, and that's just mainly because, and this is why I blog. I didn't want to blog about this, but there's a life force and there's a thing that happens that doesn't happen with homosexuality because it's not the right parts. Let me prove my point. I was putting the Christmas lights up, and this is why I didn't want to vlog, but I'm going to vlog about it anyway because it happened. I was putting the Christmas lights up, and I said, and they were old lights, they were up in the attic, and I strung the lights from the attic down to the balcony. And so I was being careful. It was the first time I did it. I said, let me check the lights, make sure current is going through there, that the light actually come on. The light, let's say light is life, okay? And then you have the wires, the actual the wires with the plug in it, and it has each bulb on it, so you have the wire, the bulb, and so I plug it into the socket. The plugs only work one way, AC. There's only a plug in the wall. You never have an AC where the plug is sticking out of the wall. The prongs are sticking out of the wall. It's the plugs the prongs go from the lights, the bulb goes in there, goes juice, the energy goes from the house, the source, the house into the lights light up. I said, let me make sure all the lights light up before I put it on top of the house. And, because all of a sudden I was just blowing the lights because I was putting too many on one. So that's another metaphor. Too many lights on one will make it blow out. Okay, so that's the thing for polygamy, right? So anyway, so I was being careful. I made sure the lights go out. I put too many lights on and blow out anyway. But I strung the lights, and this is what I really should have been careful of. I strung the lights up in a way. I took two in. There's a window up here, and here's the two lines. I put the lights up to there, attached them together, wrapped it around, and then sent them back down. I get down to where I have to plug it up. And at the two ends, there's two female parts. And so the extension cord was coming from the wall, and it had a female part on that end. There was no way I could get electricity through it. It wouldn't work. No current, no energy with two female parts on the end. I could not plug this thing up. It was the exact metaphor of how homosexual is. You get two men or two female, and no energy will go through it. No circle of life, no energy will go through it if it's the wrong parts. They just don't match up. Nothing happens. And so I was thoroughly disappointed because I had to think. Fortunately, one of the parts had two ends on it, so it was bisexual. So I actually ran another line, a third line, and this is another metaphor, because the only way that they're going to have a kid is if there's a male or a female, a third party. Trisexuality. So they're gonna, so I put the other one, and I couldn't believe it worked. I put the other light up in the jack because it actually had two sides. It had a prong and it had one. So unless you're actually and so I put it together, and so it was truly bisexual. So unless you have one that has swings both ways or have both parts, so the only ones who should ever be litigated for or should ever have laws. If you're homosexual, you should be able to prove you're homosexual, or if you're bisexual, you should be able to prove it for having both parts. So only hermaphrodites should have any type of laws for homosexuality where they can marry the same sex, because they can get the currency through and you can put a third light up there, so there's a third part involved. So anyway, I did get the lights to work, even though they had two female ends. So I tied those two ends off, and I ran a third light that had both parts up there. So, you know, it was a great metaphor, and if you think it through, which obviously we are not thinking, people are generally not thinking, you know, that there's no growth from homosexual. If you make up a family, is always, if you get two women and they have another child, is always going to be a third party. So that's polygamy. That's you know, or even if you do donors, it's not self-sustaining. It is always a third party. So you're supplementing a system that doesn't work unless there's a third party. So to me, all of it is bull. You know, all of this, and that's the point. I have no problem with bull. I have no problem with bull crap. If you say to me, look, we want this only because we want it, because we pay politicians, because we are people, we're a majority, we have economic power, which there's no discrimination on economics with homosexuals. There's been more discrimination with women. There's homosexual men who have been in power, who can influence politicians to write laws for them and to put pressure on them. And that's what it is. So it is only the homosexuals are buying laws and doing it, whether it's right or whether it. But this is the problem I have. They could do that, and that's, you know, it's the government, and this is what I'm saying. This is the president. I believe that there's something good about that. You know, that you know, each to own. We only going to be judged. You know, God is only going to judge us for what we do. So regardless, you know, the government has to take care of all the people. I understand that. So they're, you know, if the people are saying, look, we pay taxes and we buy your seats in office, and if you don't give us what we want, we're not gonna pay for your seat. You're not gonna have a seat in the office. I can accept that. That's how it works. You know, it might be wrong, might be corrupt, whatever. Whether it's right or actually no. As long as you say that we don't care if it's right or wrong, I don't have a problem with that, because the judgment is not, you know, each man is to their own judgment. You know, it's your own. God's not going to hold me accountable for your sins. You know, it's a sin. Don't care about God. That's your thing. That's your right and everything like that. But don't tell me that it's okay with God, and that it is that God said is okay. Are we doing this for because it's natural? That's a lie. It's not natural. Nothing in life works. AC Christmas lights don't even work like that. You know, so don't tell me that it's right or it's natural, but I can't even get two male parts or two female parts to run the light through energy, or life or energy through a pair of Christmas lights. So don't tell me that it's right. Just like it ain't right with a family unit or nothing. Don't tell me that God has sanctioned it, that God made it that way, that you were born that way for that purpose. That's a lie. You're a liar. You know? So, I have not a problem with liars. I have no problem with liars. I tell a lie every now and then. Some things I'm ashamed of too. You know, I have no problem about that. You know, everybody to judge it, but just don't try to. But when you start making it a law and you say it's okay, and then you start teaching it to children and then lying to them, and you know, and just perpetuating a lie. I know I'm wrong about certain things, and tell the truth about it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. You know, fornication is wrong. You know, I'm not placing it's same wrong as adultery, as it says in the Bible. They all lined up next to each other. fornication, adultery, homosexuality. You don't get an exemption pass. You gonna be wrong. You gonna be wrong just like I'm wrong. So no, that's my problem. Don't you get exempt and you start getting tax deductions? Then give me tax deductions. Give me fornication laws. Give me polygamy. Give me let me have my pursuit of happiness too. So that's my problem with that. It's just very, now I have you could be my best friend. I don't care if you're homosexual or not, but that's what I believe. Wrong is wrong and right is right. So don't try to tell me right is wrong and wrong is right. That's the major problem. It's wrong, and that's all it is to it. So, and now, now, if it's not wrong, then you take two female parts and you hook them up and you make electricity go through it without a third party. God bless you all. Love you all. Anyhow.